Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, the boss mentor, Jackie Johnson, and I'm here with a couple of special guests here today for our special Friendsgiving episode. So, ladies, I'm gonna let y'all take the time and introduce yourself, tell them your name and your podcast, and we'll go ahead with the conversation today. Let's start with you, Latoria. Tell everybody your name and your podcast.
My name is Latoria Carey, and my podcast is Real Life Conversations.
All right. My name is LaQuisha, and my podcast is My Sister and Me, Conversations in Black.
Awesome. Amen. And y'all know me. I'm your host today, the boss mentor, Jackie Johnson, and my podcast is Boss My Life with the boss mentor, Jackie Johnson. I'm also a part of Sister Conversations in Black with LaQuisha Watson there. And I'm also a part of P31 Wives Club, Wife Talks with Patrice Finley. So I'm telling you guys, I'm super excited about this episode because everybody wants to know like who my little circle is. Well, this is my circle right here. It's real small, but as you can see, they're all boss women. And I'm telling you, your environment and the people that you choose to connect with is super important for your own personal development in this boss life. So I really wouldn't be who I am now, especially without these two ladies here and even Patrice. So she's absent today. She couldn't join us, but we're sending her our love and our prayers, and she's going to be with us on the next one. All right. So, guys, are y'all ready for this conversation?
Oh, no. But go ahead anyway.
So, y'all know these are my sisters, okay? So, these are women of God. They're also professional women. They're mothers. We have all been wives and all kind of other stuff, okay? Which ain't none of your business, okay? You just gonna have to learn us to know us, okay? But the reason why this is exciting for me is because I know each and every one of these ladies personally. I know how powerful they are. I know how amazing they are. I know how gangster they are. I know how sweet they are. I know how brilliant they are. And so I really want y'all to kind of have an inside track to how conversations go when it's me talking to one of my sisters, okay? So it gets real. It can get a little offensive at times. I'm sorry. If you sensitive, you probably don't want to watch this at all. Like at all, okay? But I promise you at the end of the day, it's going to be helpful and it's definitely going to be something you can relate to. So, sisters, it's a lot going on. I don't know if y'all been paying attention to social media, but people are going through a lot of stuff. It's a lot of, things out there, a lot of memes out there. It's a lot of emotions out there. So I guess I want to kick off the conversation today by asking a very serious question. Do you guys think that there's a difference between loving someone and being in love with someone? Like, do y'all think there's a difference? And if so, break that down for us today. Because I'm sure we all three have some very different opinions about this here topic. So who want to take a stab at it and go first?
I'll let LaQuisha. I'm still trying to think for a second.
Well, okay. My sister and I have debated about this before.
Oh, so y'all used to this?
We used to debate.
Yeah, we debate a lot.
Oh, okay.
When it comes to love, we're often on opposite ends of the spectrum, but we still find a way in the middle somewhere.
Yeah.
I absolutely think that there's a difference between loving and being in love. And my reasoning is that, and I'll go romantic relationship, because I was gonna do familial, but that's real easy to do. So I'll do romantic relationship. I can have a guy friend and love him. I have a guy friend. I love him like a brother, but he ain't my brother. Always knew he had a crush on me, but I never had interest in him. I love him though. I would never want to see anything happen to him, and I always want the best for him. But when I met my fiance, or when I was revealed to have a fiance in my heart, I love him like he is my brother. I would never want to see anything happen to him, but I'm in love with him like he's my man. Like in love, like I want you to wrap your arms around me, not the way my play brother would right? Not the way my play brother would wrap his arms around me. I want you to hold me different. Okay. So I do believe that there's a difference between love and being in love. And I think, and I'm going to hit something here, and some people may not like it, but this is my job.
Hello, Lord. Interesting.
I think that people sometimes get married because they love one another, but they are not necessarily in love with one another. And then they stay in the marriage due to that obligation to love.
She gonna go
not
there
the
today.
obligation to. I got to hit y'all. Y'all
you gonna come out the gate like that?
We can box
out the gate,
but they don't have an obligation to love because they've been in it. But they are not in love, and you were never in love to begin with. That was your husband. If you looked it up, he wasn't your husband. He was your man. And there's a difference. There's a difference. Biblically, a husband is a farmer, a gardener, a planter. Some of these men ain't planting. Some of these women ain't wives.
Oh, Jesus. Oh,
that's all I'm gonna say. Y'all go ahead.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, Jesus.
Somebody ain't gonna like it.
Listen.
No, it doesn't matter. It don't matter.
Sis, women now, you gonna come out the gate like that.
The gate, because I know too many women
that's going through that.
They're not even married, but they're bound in a relationship with somebody that ain't their husband.
Now let's talk about this, because I think that's great.
Because they love them.
Now this is so funny, because like she said, we've debated this before and we actually disagree on if there's a difference. I personally do not think there's a difference between loving and being in love. I think it's something that we have grown accustomed to say. I think there's different types of love. And even how you just described it was like, I can have these feelings of love and emotion that cause me to care for you and want the best for you. But in love sounded like romantic love for you. So that's what I mean. That's why I don't believe that there's a difference between me loving you and me being in love with you. I just think it depends on the type of love I have for you. I know we often talk about agape love, which is godly love, which is the love you should have for mankind, period. Just another human being, whether I know you or not. That's agape love, meaning I would do the right thing by you, whether I knew you or not. If I saw you in trouble, I would try to lend a helping hand. But when it comes to my family, there's going to be that agape, but it's going to be also maybe a filios kind of love, a different kind of love where it's like a brotherly love. We're kin to one another. I would probably fight for you. I would protect you. I would probably risk my life for you. It's a different type of love. But then there's that other love, that eros love, that romantic love, where I want to love on you and be intimate with you and maybe sexual with you, and I'm attracted to you. That's another level of love, but it's all love, because even like you described, having a boyfriend and having a husband, two different things. And so the reality is we operate in different levels of love with them. Okay, with that boyfriend, you still may have that eros, but there's not that deep connection yet. That it's not that souls intertwined.
With us, though.
Well, I think a lot of it can be lust, but the reality is in every relationship, there's going to be an element of lust. You're not going to marry somebody you ain't attracted to. I ain't marrying somebody I don't want to get down with when I look at them. Like,
some people do.
Listen, it got to be something about him, baby. Listen, okay? Do he do anything for me? Okay? Do I do anything for him? Because he ain't marrying me and he ain't attracted to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think when you start looking at it that way, sometimes it helps you to identify the trouble within the relationship or within a marriage. Because you just said a mouthful. You just said sometimes people have love for one another, but it ain't romantic love.
It's
You know
not.
what I'm saying? Like, I can honestly say that I have been there before. You know what I mean? And so a person may love you enough to care for you and protect you, and they don't want to see you fall into danger. And so, you know what I mean? Like, but then if you get married to them based off of that, at some point when they don't need to rescue you anymore, the reality is that other love isn't there. That romantic love, that I want to wake up to you every day love, that I want to lay down with you every time I look at you. Ooh, girl, you look so good. Like, that is not there. You know what I'm saying? Because the love they have for you wasn't a romantic love. So I agree with you as far as your breaking it down and your definition of it, but I just think that the vocabulary, which is where a lot of people mess up at, because people will say, even in marriages, I'm just not in love with you anymore.
But that means the romantic love, though.
But that's a feeling. Is that really love, or is that something that can be rekindled? Because every relationship goes through a period where you're not really feeling your partner. Does that mean I'm not in love with them anymore? Or does that mean
I don't know if it justifies them at all, but yeah, I don't think it justifies them.
Okay, all right, but that's me. So that's my spiel. What do you think, sis? Latoya, we're gonna throw it to you.
I know, love is an action word. You know what I'm saying? And everybody got their own perspective of what love is. And I believe it's how you've been taught. You know, love has to be taught. So if you taught love supposed to be this certain way, you're gonna operate in however you think love's supposed to be. So with listening to y'all, you know, going back and forth, and I was just sitting here thinking, and I was like, you know, that word is powerful, but it's how it's been taught. Do people know the definition of what love is? I believe in, you know, even with marriages and love, I believe that in marriage, you got to have an unconditional love, just like God have for us, because you become one flesh. You know what I mean? And it is a gap in love when it's marriage, because it's like we won. So the love got to be unconditional, just like God forgive us, we have to forgive them. And it's like it's that one, because that's what you vowed. That was your vow. So it just all depends on your mindset of what love is to you, and how faithful you is and loyal to that word.
I like it. No, but that makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense because what we believe and what we've grown up knowing does sculpt our belief about love. That's how come I can stand here and sit here today and say that my perception of love has changed through the years, because growing up, I thought love was one way. You know what I mean? As a teenager, I thought it was something else. After being married and divorced, I understood it to be something different. You know what I'm saying? So like my comprehension of love kept growing and maturing because I kept getting more knowledge about love. And so I think even with that, like sometimes you have to give grace to people with failed relationships, because maybe that person failed you, but it's because they really didn't have a great understanding of what love
was.
They thought they loved you.
Right.
They thought they had that kind of love, you know what I mean? But really, they didn't really understand love. And that has really allowed me to forgive some people, allow me to have some grace for some things that have happened to me in my life, and not hold like this grudge about, you know, the hurt heart, or, you know what I mean, who walked off. And, you know, like you start to understand that everybody has to evolve in their understanding of love. And, you know, because sometimes people can love you and not even understand the depth of their love until later on, because they just didn't comprehend what that was. You know, we just had this brief conversation here where we was talking about when you go through that place where you're not attracted to your mate anymore. You know, they don't do anything for you anymore. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people will be like, okay, I'm just not in love with you anymore, and they feel like it's time to move on. But it's not until you mature and understand that that's not what that means. That means now that you have to dig in and do the work to find your way back to your spouse. Now, I definitely tell people that are just in a relationship, that's a whole different thing. The dedication you have to someone as your spouse is going to be different to the dedication you have to somebody you're just dating. You know what I'm saying? Because in that dating time is when you're really supposed to be analyzing, is this person the person who should be my wife? Is this person the person that should be my husband? You know what I mean? So you haven't really made that commitment, like, I'm in this, you know what I mean? But once you get married to a person, like those places where, you know, the relationship isn't doing great, it's not a cue to bail out. It's a cue to figure out what's going wrong and try to fix. And that's the thing that we have not been taught. And I'm going to say, especially us as Black people, we have not ever really been taught, you know, to come together, to work it out, to figure out, you know, what's going on, to get help if we need to. Like, that just wasn't a part of our culture. You know, our culture was, if they don't treat you right, move on. If they don't want to be with you, then forget it. You better off. Like, that's what we're taught, you know. And I'm not saying stay and take crap after crap, because some people just, God help them. Like, they keep taking abuse after abuse after abuse in the name of I'm married. And that is stupid. I'm sorry. It just is. You know, a person putting their hands on you, a person cheating on you over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Like, that is abuse. And God never told you to suffer that. You know, you got to learn how to separate yourself. And if the person does not gain an appreciation for you, because you cannot stay married to a person who's not trying to be married to you, you know? So
I was
that's
going to say that I think that people oftentimes stay in relationships with spouse that were not ever called to them.
Now, you know, we're about to have a debate here too.
We're about to have a debate. We are. Because that person was never ordained for you. You chose them, and now you're trying to force that to work. Being miserable. But here's the thing, and I'll prove it. And this is not even to get all biblical, but I'll prove it. When Boaz married his bride, she went and laid at his feet, right? She first and foremost, she threshed after his people. She threshed. Then she went back to her mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law told her what to do. She went and laid at his feet. Boaz, she wanted to be with him, okay? She presented herself to him. Boaz did not automatically take her. Now, he could have. This young woman laying at his feet. What he did was, he said, you stay here. I'm going to go back and seek counsel. See, people forget this. I don't know if they even pay attention to it. He said, I'm going to go back and seek counsel. He said, if there's not anyone that stands up for you and wants to take you, then you will become my wife. What Boaz did was, he took her and presented her back to God. Basically, he ultimately left the decision up to God on whether or not he should choose her. Now, and he was an older man. In his older age, he could have just took her because she was a younger woman. He didn't have a wife. But what he did was, he presented the option back to God. One man got up, he said, I'll do it. I'll take her, not her. He said, I'll take all of everything that's been left to her passed on husband. Boaz said, well, you got to take her too? He said, oh, no, I can't afford her. See, some people want things that they ain't willing to pay the price for.
All right.
They want to be married to somebody that they ain't willing to pay the price for. They ain't willing to pay the cost for, but they look good laying at their feet.
Right.
So I think, in my opinion, and not everybody's going to agree with this, and I'm not in no way promoting divorce. What I'm saying is that you chose her, you chose him, and now you want God to ordain it when you didn't ask God if the option was the right one to begin with. That's all I'm saying.
No, I agree. I agree with that. I think and see, we always differ just on little things. And where I feel like the difference is I feel like because God gives you free will, he gives you the option to choose your mate. And the only reason why I say this is because early on, I did believe that there was one person for everybody. You know what I'm saying? So I was that person that was like, I'm just waiting for God to send me my mate, my soul mate, my person that I was ordained for. And I'm telling you, you get married once and get divorced, you stop believing in that one person.
But
Because
why you didn't ask God though? Like
because
you
but I
said,
did. But here's the thing, I did.
and he said he was the one.
He was the one. Now here's the thing. A lot of people will say, oh, well, he probably was the one for that season, for that part of your life. And the honest to God truth is, the man saved my life. I would have been somebody different. I would have been somewhere else. So I have been able to, in my mature life, acknowledge what God did through him. He saved my life. I became a believer because of the influence of him in my life. But the reality was, because I had did that marriage God's way, because I prayed, because I lived right, because I held myself for marriage, because I honored my husband, because he was a minister and I was a minister. So we both were serving God. When that marriage failed, I was devastated. You understand what I'm saying? Because I did not have the knowledge at that age to be like, oh, well, it's about choice. No, in my mind, this is the man you told me was my husband. Why is this happening? I honored you. I did what I was supposed to do. You know what I mean? Like, I was really devastated. It took me a lot of years to even get over that. You know that, sis,
Yeah.
But the reality,
husband.
But the reality is, he didn't choose it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I believe that as well, but he did not choose that. I was not what he wanted after a certain point. He went into the world, he did his thing. You know what I'm saying? I eventually had to move on. You understand what I'm saying? So it was a very difficult process. After that, I stopped believing in that one. What I start understanding is, I could see that you and I, as a husband and wife, could be this, and this. But you also had to be able to accept. What I think about is, when God presented Eve to Adam, Adam immediately said, this is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. He did not reject. He did not say, oh, no, that ain't my type. He didn't say, oh, no, what is this? What am I supposed to do with this? He immediately received the gift that God presented to him. And I think the problem with us as human beings is, God can be showing you that this is your husband, but your past hurt, your past pain makes you, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, the fears. And the same with men. Their past pain, their past hurt, they can know that that woman is the woman for you, and he'll still procrastinate. He'll still wonder. He'll still be like, I don't know. He'll still be like, no, I'm gonna keep going. You understand? So it's still about our surrender to God and the will of God. The reason why I agree with you is because I do agree that you should not marry a person you have not spoken to God about. Simple as that. Whether it's the one meant for you and you believe that or not, the bottom line is, before I enter into a marriage, I need to talk to God about this person. And I think sometimes people don't do that. They're just like, well, it gotta be right. You know what I mean? Like, they came in my life at this right time, and he loved God and she loved God. Just because she loved God, just because he loved God, don't mean they're for you.
Right.
You have to get somebody who can be with you where you are now, and somebody who is willing to grow with where you're going. Are you guys going to be able to grow? Because a lot of times in marriage, that's a problem too. They start off maybe trying to grow and mature, but then they get to a place where they stop, but you're still growing. Eventually, somebody's going to outgrow the other person. And because the other person ain't trying to come up, there is going to be a split. You're not going to be on one accord. You understand what I'm saying? There's going to be a problem. So, but all of that is still about the will of another person. And that is why love will forever and always be a risk, because you cannot control the other person. You cannot control the decisions of the other person, but you can make sure that you stay rooted and grounded in God, that no matter what happens in that relationship, that God will give you the strength to do what you're supposed to do. And that if at any time God deems that this is not for you, or if any time that person deems that this is not what they want anymore, that God is able and just to heal you and give you something better. What you think, sis?
Sister Latoria.
Yes.
Well, basically, what I love about the whole conversation is because this where you could kind of see where the grace come in at too. Because when y'all was saying that, for those who, because a lot of people didn't know to go to bring their marriage to the Lord.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you ain't been taught that, you know what I mean? How would you know to do that? Right. So I thank God for the grace, because once you get in it, now that you got the knowledge, now you can bring your marriage to the Lord and ask him, for his grace and forgiveness. Lord, I didn't know at the time. I don't know if I married a demon. I don't know, but God, this is what I'm doing.
Lord,
you know what I'm saying?
Jesus.
Lift it up to you, Lord, because Lord, I didn't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I see, and a lot of grace marriages come through those type of, relationships too. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of women haven't been taught how to study a man and interview a man and know what type of man to look for, especially if you have that father as a role model.
Right, that's true.
You ain't have nobody, a big brother, uncle, somebody just to sit down and explain to you, go check his background, see the type of mother who raised him, see the type of father who raised him, find out where they come from, so you'll kind of know what you're dealing with. So when disagreements come, or when you will see who they really are. But if you don't have that knowledge, it's like you both come into toxic. Like I'm toxic coming in, you toxic coming in. He didn't pray about asking God about me, because the men got to pray about asking God to marry us women too.
Right.
No.
You see what I'm saying? So the men suffering too now, because sometimes they come across some witches, just like we come across warlocks. You see what I'm saying? So it's like everybody is in it. Like the poor men, they get caught up with women who, and then the women, it's like, Lord.
Yeah.
So it's so deep, different perspectives. You see what I'm saying? So that's where the grace come in at. And for those who's not married yet, and the ones who coming up under us, we're able to tell them, now before you get married, kind of do your background. That same thing with the guys. See who their mother was, see who raised these women. Because they may be a girl that get mad and they'll go probably have sex with your homeboy and hurt you.
Right.
You got girls who do that too. So a lot of men is damaged. It's a lot of women damaged, but me having a lot of brother-in-laws and a lot of uncles and stuff, I realize a lot of men is damaged. You know what I'm saying?
They are.
Because the broken-hearted girls cheat on them when they get mad or talk. Men deal with a lot too, just trying to keep up with the lifestyle. To try to make a woman think they could take care of,
Yeah.
So it's deep, but I like to hear how we all come with different perspective, because when I listen, I just only I can think of God, but like, that's what the grace for.
Yeah.
Bring it to me.
Yeah, because the Bible says, to the man that knows to do good and do not, to him is sin. So it's like when you don't understand, you're doing the best that you can. You understand what I'm saying? Which is why we do evolve, which is why we should not be like so hard on ourselves when we do make the mistakes. Because if you wasn't taught, how do you know? You're kind of doing it by trial and error, know? And so I understand. And that's why I said I really have a lot of grace for some of the wrong that has been done in my life, because I realized that their level of understanding was not even in the same place as me. You know what I mean? Like they may have thought that they were, or they may have done the best that they could, and so like you said, that's where the grace comes in. But I also believe, sis, too, what you said, men are most times more broken than us, because women will tend to find healing. Like we can not know how, but we'll still search. We'll look for help. If it's the girlfriend, if it's the minister at the church, we will, if it's somebody we just done saw online, we will look for resources to help ourselves. But men oftentimes do not. They won't even accept it. A lot of times if another man actually comes to them as a brother or a father figure trying to help them, they don't really receive, and so men oftentimes will just do and bury themselves in doing to try to forget about what has happened. And because of that, they don't deal with that stuff that, they have encountered, or they feel like, oh, I'm good. They feel like after time, it's okay. And the only reason why they feel like that is because with time, you could forget, but it doesn't mean you're healed or you're over it.
Yeah. Right. Well, I'm going to say something.
All right.
Like it's something wrong with me. But listen, I've been there. And I thank God for grace. I thank God for grace. Let me put in my mother's voice.
Please take your mother
for
Watson
grace.
voice out of there. You is not that old yet.
Let me get my Baptist voice in there. I thank God for grace.
Oh, Jesus. Keep it on, baby.
Bless your heart. But, and this just me, this is not them or whoever watched this.
Right.
If you are hell on wheels and a demon, I ain't praying for no grace. I'm out of it.
All right, you don't negotiate with the demon, baby. You don't negotiate with the devil.
Listen, if you can't cast it out, you better get it
cast it out. If you can't cast it out,
I'm gonna still pray for you. I'm gonna still pray for you, but I'm not going to allow you to abuse me.
Yes,
and kick me and beat me, because I already been abused, kicked, and beaten.
Well, I ain't doing that because I'm crazy. I'm telling you right now, you put your hands on me, I'm in jail. Okay, I got a prison ministry, and we all know this. No.
Because and it's a trip. Because in our younger days, I don't know where y'all was from, but back in the days when I was growing up, people thought that used to be the thing when the boy beat you up, that means he loved you.
Right.
Yeah, remember, right? It's like if he slapped you or something, that means he loved you.
Yeah, I saw many battered women in my neighborhood. But I just couldn't because I couldn't
fight. We would fight them.
Listen, right. I'm telling you right now.
It was like a good thing back then. Like, boy, he loved you, he hit you. And I guess it was the you know what I'm saying, the controlness. Like, and let him see you talking to somebody, see if he gonna get mad.
Girls used to do it on purpose. They would talk to him for him to get mad. Yes, I remember.
Exactly.
I have a question for y'all. Knowing what we know and where we come from, maybe not y'all, but I'm sure you do know somebody that is still tolerating that. How do you break that? And as a friend or a family member, how do you get them to see? Because you're praying, you're talking to them about God, but how do you get them to see, like, baby, you talking about killing yourself?
Wow. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think you can get them to see. I think the only thing you can do is intercede for them spiritually, that God will give them a moment of clarity to make a different decision. Because I'm telling you, I lived with a sister who was that way. And it didn't matter what you said to her. It doesn't matter. It's something in them that does not feel worthy or feels like this is how it's supposed to be. Like, it is something in them that tells them this is what they should do. I have met mothers who literally was on the run from boyfriends and husbands who literally was about to kill them. You understand what I'm saying? And they still have left shelters and safe places to go back with that man. I know a couple who even died because they went back. So in them cases, like, really, that is a stronghold. That is a spiritual, emotional, and mental stronghold that man has over them. And you really have to pray that God will break that, because in your natural self, I'm not saying don't keep encouraging them and keep talking to them. No, do those things, because there's seeds that are being planted. But you honestly cannot go in there thinking, I'm going to say this to them and they're going to walk out of here. I have put myself in harm's way. You understand what I'm saying? Literally standing up to a man saying, you will not put your hands on her. If you do, you're going to have to go through me. And if you put your hands on me, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be 6 Suburbans sitting up here with you. You know what I mean? Like, literally putting myself in harm's way. And then she goes right back.
Okay.
Which is why a lot of families sometimes don't get involved with abusive cases, because they feel like, oh, this is what they do. They're going to fight, put their hands on each other. They're going to, she going to have black eye, bloody nose, and tomorrow they're going to be lovey-dovey. You understand what I'm saying? So it kind of desensitizes people that, oh, this is the behavior you're choosing. So I think in them cases, you really have to pray and intercede and just pray that God will bring a resolve. You know what I mean? Because unfortunately, it's like with drugs. Until they get tired, no change will happen,
Right.
But that's so good, guys. I'm loving this. Okay, so my next question. Do you believe relationships where partners have different religious beliefs can be successful? Or Or is that unequally yoked?
I'm
Let's
letting
hit it. Let's
She
hit
said,
it.
let Latoya get to this one.
Yes.
So I'm gonna say this because I hate religion. Let me turn this volume up a little bit. Hold up, right quick. I'm sorry. I hate religion, but this is what I'm gonna say is it depends on the beliefs and the character of what that person believes as far as relationships. Because if it's one with God, the love, the creator, it could work well if the character meet up. Because if everybody, because when all fall down, they all fall in the character of Christ. If it's a success Muslim or Buddhism or whatever the belief may be. The point is, I think it's the character and the beliefs of what they believe in far as in the relationship. And could they come in agreement on how that, how that go like that? And I think it can, because I have seen successful relationships work together that was from different beliefs. I really have. And because of it, because they both respected what they believe and they had faith in that.
Absolutely.
You understand?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
So that's
okay. Sis, you want to take it next? I've been trying to talk last. Okay, I'm going to take this one because I got a personal connection to this one. But what I will say is I do have a friend. She's a Christian and her husband is a Muslim. And I remember the first time I found that out, I was like, what? Like, how is that supposed to work? You know what I mean? Like, in my mind, I ain't gonna lie, I was being so judgmental. I had to pray for forgiveness later. But in my mind, I was very judgmental because I was just like, how's that supposed to work? You know what I mean? Because I know they believe in Jesus, but they believe he was just a prophet. I don't think they necessarily believe he was the savior, like that and according to the Bible, it says that anybody who does not believe that he was the son of a God and that he died on the cross for sins, that's the spirit of the Antichrist. So in my mind, I was like, well, if you don't believe at least that, you the Antichrist. Like, I'm a coexist with the Antichrist. You know what I mean?
The Antichrist.
Right, right. So, but I'm gonna tell you what happened. What always happened when we get to judging is God, he allow you to be in a situation. Okay. So the reality is, am I gonna say it? But the reality is I found myself in love with a person who was a Muslim. And I am a believer. And I was just like, so, it's weird because I'm asking him questions about his belief system. Like, could you even date me? Like, you know what I mean? Could you even marry me? Like, how would that even work? So as I began to ask him questions, I began to gain an understanding about what they believe. And, and he was like, yeah, we can, as long as you're a believer, you're considered somebody that we could actually, mate with, because we have basically the same foundational belief system. Now, that couple that I told you, my friend, who she's a Christian and her husband is a Muslim, they have a beautiful relationship. And she said the reason why they have a beautiful relationship is because they reverence one another's belief system. At the end of the day, even me as a believer, even me as a spiritual leader, I am not the type of person that judges other people's walk. However you find, I believe we all have a path to God. And that path may have been through sin. It may have been through another religion, because some people have been other religions before they become believers. You know what I mean? However your path is, you walk that path. And I believe that God has a way of revealing the truth to you. I believe that at the end of the day, I honor other people's journey. Is it the same journey I have? No. Is it the way that I would probably send you on? No. But I have to honor the way that your journey is going, because salvation is personal. A relationship with God is personal. I cannot dictate that for another person, and another person can't dictate that for me. My life experiences, my willingness or non-willingness is going to contribute into that. So at the end of the day, their relationship works because they reverence one another. She allows him to do what he has to do. He prays them 5 times a day toward the sun, whatever. Like, that's what he does. but she has a prayer time. She goes to her prayer closet. He don't bother her. He respects what she's doing because they believe that if they're either one of them is on the wrong path, God is going to bring that thing together. And the reality with them is they honor each other, and they even honor each other's belief system. So there are certain things that she does that is, primarily what Christians do, but he will join her because of that. You know what I mean? Same thing with her. She will observe certain like Ramadan and things like that. She observes that with her husband, even though that's his belief system. So they found a way to really respect one another's belief. And, they discuss things and talk about things, but they don't debate, which is what we ain't supposed to do anyway as Christians. We're not supposed to debate the word of God. You can only simply be an example or an instrument of education or truth to someone, And so the love that they have and the character that they present to one another as a husband and wife is beyond reproach. And he loves her the way a husband should, provides for her the way a husband should. She does the same thing for him as a wife. And because of that, they have a beautiful relationship. And so watching that, it caused me to be, of course, less judgmental. And then I also had to look at that for myself and say, well, God, well, how would you feel? You know what I mean? If I entered into a relationship like this. And so I think at the end of the day, I think as long as it's not somebody who's just directly like, yeah, your God is not the real God. Your what you believe in is just trash. Like if it's somebody like that, of course, you can't, how can light and darkness walk together? If you're just totally against what I believe, then of course we could not have a harmonious relationship. But I do believe that it's about the character of the people and the respect that they have for one another and each other's belief system.
Amen.
Sis, you want to add anything?
I do agree with you both, the respect level and everything. I think that when you have a common goal in a marriage, it's helpful. It's even movie stars that have different religions and they're married, and it seems to work. I think as believers, I'm not a fan of well, I can't say I'm not a fan. It wouldn't work for me. Let me put it that way. I'm not, because it may work for someone else.
Right.
So I gotta phrase it right. It wouldn't work for
Preference.
me.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason is because I think of Samson and Delilah. I think of, having the tabernacle in the same place where other idols and they kept. I think there's certain that come to my mind. And this ain't about being Baptist, because I'm probably the most Baptist, non-Baptist person ever. If it works for other people, that's them. This is my thing. I've always been taught this, and this is my belief. I don't judge people's personal stuff. However they stuff work for them is how it works for them. I don't get into their bedroom or none of that. I can only speak on for me. I try to not put my mouth on other people's stuff. I just do not try to do that. But for me, the person has to be a believer. That's
and
all.
You know what, LaQuisha, and it's funny that you said that, because even in the Word of God, it tells us that even when you is operating with a non-believer of from different beliefs, the goal is our belief supposed to overwhelm them. The Christ supposed to overwhelm them.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's really, it's not supposed to just stay like that.
Right.
It's supposed to be okay while you're in it. What I got going, the beauty of what I'm doing is supposed to eventually win you over.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? That's the goal of it. So that's why God says it's okay to deal with somebody like that. He said, because if I sanctify one, I can automatically sanctify the other.
I agree.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So certain people don't want to be with people that's not in the same belief as them.
Right.
So we carry demons every day and pray the devil up off of them. Look, they don't even be believers at all. They be running
Yeah.
Women be running streets, men be running streets. So the blood carry over everybody.
Yeah, it
I do
does.
believe that. Now, if there is room for growth, if there is some leniency, if there is something where that person can come over. My first marriage, I married a Jehovah's Witness. Okay. I was Baptist. Our belief system wasn't the same. So I do that, like I said, I don't judge people's personal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that the blood carry over everybody. I do. I'm just, look, you may not be a practicing Christian or whatever, but if you believe in the power of the blood, for me, now I'm talking about me, the death, the burial, and the resurrection. What can I say?
Mhm.
What can I say? I can't judge you.
Right.
So for me, it's a case by case. I mean,
I think that's for most people. I think the whole thing is everybody has preference, but I think there are foundational things that everybody looks for. I can even say, like, even for me, like, just my idea of what I felt like I wanted and needed has evolved over the years. Like, at one point, I wouldn't even date a man who wasn't a minister. If he wasn't on the same level of me, I wouldn't even date you. I wouldn't talk to you at all.
girl,
Because
I ain't even want no minister. I wanted a thug.
listen, no, I'm telling you the truth. Like, when I came from the
Excuse
street,
me, Latoya.
so I wanted what was so far from what I saw in that street.
Yeah.
I didn't want nothing. So that was the first
You were
thing.
trying to find a savior.
I was trying to get away from these idiots I saw every day in my life. Because here's the thing. Here's the common thing. When you first become a believer, you're very zealous.
Yeah.
And you want to do
Yeah.
everything right. And you want to just, so that's your mindset. So you like, if you ain't on what I'm on, keep moving. Like, you know what I mean? And that was me. Okay. But then after that, I got into a place where now he got to be on the same level spiritually as me. But guess what? I married 2 preachers. Okay. That didn't work out. So then I went to, I don't even want no man in church. Like, like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, the stuff kept evolving based on my experiences. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I got to a place like, nah, I don't even want him to be in church. I just want him to love God and be willing to develop a personal relationship. He don't need to go to church. He don't need to be no preacher. None of that. Okay. When I married my last husband, he went to church. He knew of God. He believed God, but he was not what we call saved. He was not no minister. He wasn't even regularly attending church. He started attending church when we started dating, and it started with him coming to hear me minister. You know what I'm saying? Like, so then after that, it became a thing because it was what I wanted. I couldn't be in a relationship with a man I couldn't sit at church next to. You know what I mean? We couldn't worship God together. Then what's the point of us being together? So he evolved because of our relationship, but he had a foundation. He did used to go to church. He did know God. He did love God. He just was not committed to God and living his life for God. So you know what I'm saying? So again, those things, them preferences start to change based on who you are and what you have gone through. So I understand preference better than most people. Like, all of us have a preference. There are certain things that we just don't want, and certain things that we okay with. Certain things I can work with, you can't work with. Certain things you can work with in a man, I'll be like, you know what I mean? Because of our preferences. So that's why I said too, sis, I don't judge people's walk. I don't judge people's journey. At this point in life, it's not smart to judge the next person's stuff when you have gone through your own journeys. That, you know what I mean, wasn't too pretty. If you be honest, it wasn't pretty, and it just, you have evolved and you have matured and you have changed and you have grown. So totally agree with you ladies there. All right, we're gonna do 2 more questions and we're gonna wrap it up. The next question. Now, this is a good one. Does somebody wanting to work a job instead of owning a business disqualify them from boss status?
I'm gonna take this one because we have talked.
I know you will take this one.
I've never had.
We agree here.
Yes.
Go ahead, sis.
I've never had a desire to have my own business. It's not because I lack enthusiasm or inspiration or any of that. I enjoy working. I do. I enjoy working. I enjoy going to work. Now I can't say I like it every day, like I like caramel cake, but I enjoy my career. I do. I've worked very hard. I've gone to school to get to this place. Now, in the field that I work in, there are not a whole bunch of people that do what I do with this color. And so I believe that I was positioned in certain places with this color to be there, because if I had not have been there, they would not have gotten the resources that they got. And sometimes we have to do that. We have to infiltrate his camp.
Right.
And I still fully believe that I'm on boss status, because I've had employees up under me and everything.
Right.
So someone cannot dictate to me that I'm not a boss when I've gone to school and I've done what I was supposed to do and obtained the career, and I am representing us,
right,
in this field,
right,
for us.
Yeah.
So, and as far as entrepreneurs, my hat goes off to them. My hat goes off to all of you. It is a blessing, but we need to occupy all fields.
Amen.
Whether you're an entrepreneur, or you just want to work, or you stay-at-home mom, whatever. We need to be in all fields to show, because we are well-rounded people when we really, really put our mind to it and our spirit. We well-rounded. Think about where we come from. We had to plant. We had to get up early. We had to cook. We had to kill boars or whatever they was cooking. We had to do that.
Right.
We're well-rounded people. So I still think that you can work a job, and my sister knows this. I think you can work a job and be a boss at the same time. It is all upon what your effort,
absolutely,
what you have put into that thing.
Yes.
And sometimes, people that got their own businesses, they look down on regular workers. I had somebody tell me one time I was just a worker bee. He did. And at first I kind of was like a little hurt. But then I thought about it like, this worker bee makes up the balance when the business don't do well.
Right.
It covers your health care. You ain't ever sick and not treated. So I'll be the worker bee. I'll be that. And in my own right, I'm still a boss.
Right.
And that's all I'm saying.
Absolutely. No, that's good. That's good. What about you, sis?
I mean, I agree. I agree with everything she's saying, because, it depends on me. It depends on if you liking what you're doing. It don't matter what the situation. If you guiding you and leading you, you bossed up.
Right.
You know what I mean? So long as you happy where you at and the field you doing is what you want to do, I don't think boss go by whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you are an employee. I believe boss go by how you handle your life, how you run your lifestyle,
that's good,
how you take care of your business.
Yeah.
Are you responsible? Are
Come
you
on
operating
here.
like an adult?
Come on here.
Are you mature? That's boss to me.
Yeah.
You got your priorities in order. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You handle your business. That's boss.
Preaching.
That's it. There she go. Well, I tell y'all, she do that weird thing. Okay. I totally agree. I am in total agreement here. I know the world like to paint that picture that unless you're an entrepreneur running your own business, you're not a boss. But let me tell you something. I have learned through the years what it really means to be a boss. That's why I'm called the boss mentor. I know what I'm talking about. So at the end of the day, my podcast this week was just about that very thing. If you decide that a career is what you want, being a boss is all about operating in purpose. What were you purposed to do? I was purposed to run businesses. It was prophesied over me at a very young age that my mind would bring money. that my thoughts, my ideas, the things that I create would bring wealth to me and to my family and to those who connected with me. That is my purpose. So it's not because I own a business or I run a business that makes me a boss, because business owners, entrepreneurs work harder than most people work.
Yes, they
Because
do.
especially in the beginning, you're everything.
Yeah.
Your accounting, your marketing, your administration, you is the shipping and receiving, like you everything in that business. We work hard. And just the same way, so do people with jobs and careers. They had to go to school, they had to study, they had to show that they could pass them courses, they had to obtain them degrees to be in certain careers. So I think once you understand your purpose and you're working actively and you're working relentlessly to be ready for that purpose, that is what makes you a boss, is that you understand your purpose, you do what is necessary to prepare yourself to walk in that purpose, and you not only walk in that purpose, but you walk in it with integrity, you walk in it with godly character, and you walk in it knowing and understanding that this is who you are and what you have been called to do. And because of that, I don't care who step in the room, they don't hold a candle to you. That's what it means to be a boss. So I totally agree, whether you are in school to become what you're trying to be, or because you have already done that and you have a career. And, you know, Sis said a lot of times entrepreneurs look down on workers. They do, but I've also been looked down upon because I didn't have a degree, because I didn't do certain things. And for a long time, I felt very intimidated. But then God did something really great in me. He gave me knowledge and he gave me experience, more so than some people who got a degree doing what I do. And so that became my claim to fame, because anybody who knows me knows that I've always been very studious. And so I was always disappointed that I couldn't finish college. I was always disappointed that every time I started really getting into my college work and doing great, I've always been an A student, you know, that something in my life would happen and then I have to leave school. And so I felt like a failure for so long, but then God started putting me in rooms that people with degrees had. I didn't have a degree, but he was still putting me at these tables and in these rooms. And people was looking at me like, wow, she really knows what she's doing. Oh, wow, her work is impeccable. And they gave me the same respect as if I had the degree. That's how you know that you're walking in your purpose. That's how you know that you're walking in the favor of God. And so God really began to show me, Jackie, this is what you called to do. And because of that, I became more confident in that area. So I didn't care what other people said. It didn't matter, you know, but at the end of the day, like we just said, being a boss isn't about the job. It's not about the career. It's not about the business. It's about walking in the purpose that God has placed within you and really being obedient to God and say, God, this is what you got for me. Show me how to do this and I'm going to do it. So I agree. All right, last question. Let's see him pick a juicy one. Oh, I don't know if I should do this one because we might be here for a while. I'm gonna give y'all the question. Y'all can tell me which one y'all want to answer. Number one, how do you properly handle family that doesn't act like family? Or is it really not okay to get back with an ex?
Is it not okay to get back with an ex? Don't people get back with their exes all the time?
But I guess the thing is, because everybody's like, if you leave somebody, like you should never go back. Like, why are you even contemplating that? So which one y'all want to close out on?
It's up to you. I'm with whatever one.
Now, it don't matter to me. I mean, the whole family thing is, what was the family question?
How do you handle family who does not act like family?
I think we can do them both. I think we can answer that quickly.
All right, let's get it.
Black folk ignore each other. They ask who all gonna be over there. You coming to the barbecue? Who all over there? So and so over there? I ain't going.
Yeah.
Or they go and they stay a short time.
Yeah.
And communication in Black families has been difficult. We won't talk about our issues.
Mm-hmm.
And then y'all end up having a blow up. Somebody done stepped on somebody's shoe and it done been a big old fight. And you know that it was because one cousin slept with another cousin man or baby daddy, and that's the real issue. That's how Black people handle it.
Wow.
And I ain't good with that because I'm the family member that blow up the spot. I'm the family member to be talking about why you talking to me. You know you slept with my cousin. Like I'm the family member that blow up the spot. Okay, so but honestly, I can answer this question as well. I think for me, it's a combination. I'm like that too, kind of like that's the first thing I'm saying when I'm invited to a family function. Who all coming?
Because that's what we do.
But nah, I ain't coming because in my mind, if I don't mess with you like that, I don't feel like being fake and phony. So I don't want to be there and be rude to you and not speak to you or whatever. But like, I don't got time for it. And I really have entered a stage in my life where I like my peace. And so I don't go into personal spaces where I know my peace is going to be interrupted or challenged. So for me, family members who don't act like family members, I don't treat them like family members. It's real simple. I don't care what last name you got. I don't care what blood running through your veins. I'm not one of them blood is thicker than water type of people.
Right.
I'm one of them people. If you've been there for me, I'm gonna be there for you. If you've been a sister to me, you my sister. And both of y'all know this because y'all closer to me than my own biological family, because this is who has been there for me and my children in our roughest times. And so I'm one of those people. I'm a covenant person. And so if you ask me, blood is a contract. You my cousin because your mama and my mama is sisters. But if you don't treat me as such, I don't revere you as such. I grew beyond that. There was a time where I would honor you just because, oh, this is my brother, or this is my uncle, or this is my cousin, or this is my niece. But I don't do that anymore because I have found that a lot of times people don't honor you that way. And so, you're doing all this, family, and family don't care. So it's not that I don't believe in the sanctity of family and I don't honor, because I love my family. God knows I do, but at the end of the day, I just choose my peace. And so I honor the people who honor me. And I really, that's how I do. I connect with those who have connected with me. And so, yeah, if you don't act like family, you don't get treated like family. That's real
Exactly.
simple.
Straight up.
Ain't no ill feelings. I just ain't.
I ain't about to lie to kick it. Like Silk say, I ain't about to lie to kick it. I ain't about to lie to kick it.
Facts.
I ain't about to do that right there. I don't care. I don't care what it is.
Real
not
talk.
doing that.
Real talk. All right, so let's close it out on the last question. Do you really not go back to an ex? Lord. Is there ever a case where it's okay to go back to an ex?
I think it depends on the individual. It's the individual choice. I mean, if the love is realer than the hate, hey,
Sis said if the love is realer than hate, then hey, what can you do?
What can you do? If it's realer than the hate, ain't nothing you can do. After that, when all boiled down, you thought it was hate, but the whole time it was love, just crying anger.
Right.
Every time it was hate, it was really love. I don't do that. That's rude.
Right.
It was love. You see what I'm saying? The whole time you thought it was hate. You wonder why they so angry and so hateful the whole time. It was the cry of love.
Yeah.
So it just all depends on the individual. You gotta let time do what it do. Give it time, and you will know, because sometimes it takes time, and then people realize that, shoot, you ain't made it with nobody at all this time. I ain't made, you still single too. I've been about 10 years. You still, shoot, we might well, I guess it's
still single. I'm still single, baby. I feel it, sis. I feel it.
So it just all depends on, and it depends on the situation too, because a lot of people,
right.
a lot of people forgive, but a lot of people can't forget, and I know how that is. Yeah. But like I say, it just depends on how that love is. It's just that it all boils down to how can you focus forward.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like focus forward. Okay, we made our mistakes. I don't repent it. God don't repent it. We start a new thing. Let's just start over. Like,
yeah, I feel that.
Like never before. So it all depends on the mindset, and depends on the individual. Yeah. And if you could be with this person not thinking about the past.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it just all depends.
I got you, sis.
God made miracle relations. You got people that have been separated for 10, 15 years and come back together and they live a life. So you just never know, and you wonder why it be so much anger going on. It ain't that people are angry. People crying out. It's them saying, I love you and I want you back. But my pride don't know how to say I want you.
Pride, that pride, huh?
Yeah,
I feel it. I feel it. What you think, sis?
But it got to be told.
Yes, it does.
I agree, sis. That's good.
I agree. I agree with her. It's a case by case. I do want to say this disclaimer for a young woman that may watch us. Don't go back because the sex good. It's me. I know I'm on this with new people, and it's a conglomerate today.
No, but that's facts.
But don't go back.
That's a trap.
The sex was good to you.
Yeah, it takes more than good sex, honey. Listen, that is
so many young women. They just confused.
They be in bondage because the sex is good. Lord Jesus.
And bondage with love. It's just
I've been there time.
You know, I believe they get everybody.
I've been there before. Right there, I ain't gonna lie.
Get everybody.
I've been there before.
Okay, well, everybody. Don't go back.
Wait a minute, sis. I've been there before. Like, Lord, help me, Jesus, please.
Don't go back because the sex is good. Okay.
It ain't no good, Jesus. It ain't no good, but it's good, Lord.
Listen, a lot of people go back because of that.
But girl, I thank God for maturity. But see, that's when them breaking of the soul ties gotta come in at.
Yeah.
I'm telling you for real, like,
yeah.
I'm not even playing with y'all, like for real, like seriously, like I remember praying, like, Lord, please take this soul tie from me. If this ain't somebody that, you know, is going to, even now, today, the love that you can have in your heart for somebody, it's like, I don't know. I'm just like, God, if I love this person and they ain't in love with me like that, like take this soul tie from me because I don't want to be bound to somebody who ain't bound to me.
Right. That's where I was going. Make sure that you know, let me just break it down this way and then I'm done. Before you take them back, because a lot of marriages come back together and they have wonderful marriages. I believe because the people are free and delivered prior to getting back together.
Right.
Make sure that you free and delivered, free from soul ties, and make sure that when you look at that spouse, you're looking at them through the eyes of God and not through the eyes of your pain. Because that is going to determine if the marriage will work the second time around.
Well, I think you said something. You said a lot there because at the end of the day, I don't think you really could come back together with an ex if things aren't different. You understand what I'm saying? Like
people do it all the time.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm just saying, like, I know personally, because there's a time that I probably would have been like, never. You know what I mean? But like the reality is people can mature and they can evolve and they can change. And that's in my opinion, that is the only time that it is justified to get back with an ex is if that person and maybe even you have evolved and changed and matured and forgiven and been healed from the things that happened in that relationship and y'all come back together and decide you want to do it. Hey, who am I to judge? Let God do what he's doing. And, you know, y'all take that opportunity. But just on a humbug, no. Because you're lonely, no.
If the person on Zoloft and that's the only reason that they free.
Not Zoloft, Jesus. She said Zoloft.
I'm just playing.
You crazy.
I'm just playing.
Yeah. So, you know, so again, but I think the reason why I think people want to know the answer to that question is because we live in a society that everything you see now on Instagram, Facebook is like, so what? Like, you know, move on. Like that is just the theme of everything.
Yeah, that's messed up.
Move on. Forget them. If it ain't bringing you peace, move along. If it don't make you happy, do something different. Like that is the theme of the world today. And I think
that.
It's cool, but like at the end of the day, some things require building. Some things require work. Some things require maturing. Some things require understanding. Some things require therapy and counseling. So
let me ask you something. I don't think it's cool because if they say if it ain't bringing you peace, get rid of it. I think that is the worst message that we can put out there to society, the people.
That's real.
A thing should never have to bring me peace.
Come on, now you hit. Now you hit
something
talk, baby,
in me where I'm retaining peace. So I'm gonna now put my dependence on this picture to bring me peace.
Come on.
I was peace when I purchased it.
Woo, talk.
And now together we can walk in peace. But I just think
the issue.
I don't like that.
And that's the issue with a lot of relationships, is because you're dependent on each other to give you something you should have already had.
Right.
And that's the bottom line. And so when you don't have it, you're mad at that other person, but it ain't their job to give it to you. A relationship should enhance. It should add to. It should not be the primary source of. And that's where a lot of times we go wrong. Is because if you're the primary source of my encouragement, if you're the primary source of my love, if you're the primary source of my peace and joy and happiness, the moment you don't do your job or you cannot perform, I am unhappy. I am dispeaceful. I am dissatisfied. But when you have that for yourself, baby, you know how to weather storms. You know how to go through seasons of drought. And so a lot of people can't do it. And so all them people telling you, move on if it don't make you happy. Move on, get you somebody else that will. All of this stupid stuff, that is so crazy. I'm telling you, all of that is just, you're going to be recycling people every 2 to 3 years in your life. And I'm sorry, but that's just not the life that I want. Either give me a life mate or I'll stay by my freaking self, because I'm not about to be hopping from man to man. I just can't do it.
Amen to that.
It ain't who I was called to be. It's not who I am internally.
Exactly.
Man, well, sisters, this has been real. And I really think that, you know, the candid conversations, I think it really helps for people to really see some people who can talk openly and honestly. I think we're all kind of the same. Like, I really don't have a fear about what people think or you know, how they feel about me. How I feel is how I feel. What I think is what I think. My opinions are my opinions. They belong to me, and I don't care if other people don't like them. Somebody gonna find it helpful. Somebody gonna find it encouraging. And so I think at the end of the day, part of being this boss is understanding your power, understanding what God has really called you to do in this earth and where your impact is. And so I really honor each and every one of you women, because you all have gone through your own struggles and hardships and have come out victorious, and y'all walking that thing like nobody's business. And so we all do these podcasts and write these books and all the other stuff that we do because God has brought us from some places and he's matured us and he's really done some things in our life. And now we want to really be there for other women who may have struggled where we struggle. And so, sisters, I really love you guys. I really honor you both, and I admonish people to follow you on your social media platforms. So I want to close by saying I'm the Boss Mentor, Jackie Johnson. You can find me on Instagram at the Boss Mentor J. You can find my YouTube channels. My podcast is on Spotify, Apple Music, all of those things. And again, it is Boss My Life with the Boss Mentor Apostle J or Jackie Johnson, and also Wife Talk, P31 Club, and also Sister Conversations in Black. My Sister and Me LLC, and my sister Latoya and I are working on some things. We're cooking up some new stuff for 2023, you know, so that's coming. LaQuisha and I have a book called Relationship Status that you can pre-order. Patrice and I have a book, I Came While You Were Sleeping, that is available now. And Latoya, go ahead and tell them about the things that you have going on and how they can follow you and support you.
Well, you know, me and you still working on the project. So right now they could just kind of listen in on me on Spotify, Real Life Conversations, and just tune in, just stay connected.
Awesome. Latoya also has a book out called, tell them about your book. And
oh yeah, 7 Ways How to Overcome and Overflow in God's Favor. Yes.
Very good book. You're going to want to get that. That need to be a part of the library. All right,
Yes.
thanks, sis. And again, we working on some big stuff, so we will definitely let y'all know when that's available.
Yeah.
Sis, tell them about what you got going on.
Well, it's religious. No, I'm kidding. So
Hey, we got some other believers watching the podcast. This is the power of the ministry.
If you are in Arizona, though, if you're anywhere near Peoria, please feel free to come to our church. It's called Solid Rock. It is in Peoria. You will see me there. We are doing a lot of things, a lot of amazing things. Of course, I'm doing the Sister Conversations in Black with my sister, and we do have the relationship status book. And I do have a book. It's turned into a series, and it's called The Lies You Tell. And so that will be out. It's pretty juicy, but if you're ever in Arizona and you're in Peoria, you can come and check us out. It's Solid Rock, and we do have a website.
All right. Thank you, ladies. Well, sisters, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate this. We got to do this collab again. But I want to thank our audience for watching and also listening to this special Friendsgiving episode. And it will be available on all of our platforms. So you'll be able to hear it on all of our podcast channels. And it'll also be on our YouTube channels. So check that out. God bless you. We hope you had a great holiday. Keep your spirits up for Christmas time coming. And I'm telling y'all, stay tuned, because no matter what you're dealing with and what you're going through, I promise you it's going to be something said on these podcasts that's going to help you. So until next time, I'm Jackie Johnson signing out.
Oh, and I'm LaQuisha. See you later.
Latoria.
All right. Have a good one. Bye, sissies.
Y'all